Hello and welcome to CMN News. Today we'll be reporting on several instances, mostly about the New South with Henry Grady, court cases, and thoughts from activists such as the well-renowned Booker T. Washington. Thank you for choosing CMN News, and you will not regret it.
Hi, this is Mary Johnson, and I'm with CNN News. Barbara is on the other line, and we're going to introduce the ex-governor of Georgia, Joseph E. Brown. Hi, this is Barbara Johnson with Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown is part of what is called the Bourbon Triumvirate.
Thanks for having me today. Yes, the rest of the people, John B. Gordon and Alfred E. Colquitt, couldn't make it today. However, I'm here to answer all your questions. I'm part of the New South movement, and we want to modernize the South. As we know, we don't want to change it socially or politically.
What are your values?
We believe in white supremacy, one-party politics, low taxes,
I would sure like those.
and limited role for state government. Well, thanks for having me today, Ms. Johnson.
You're welcome. Come back anytime. Hi, this is Barbara Johnson again, coming from you live on the CMM News, and I'm here to talk about the Atlanta Compromise speech made by Booker T. Washington. A little background information on Booker T. Washington from himself. It's here with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, I'm glad to be here today.
Can you please tell us a little bit about how you did it influence on African American Leader Society?
Yes, I believe that African Americans need economic independence so that they can achieve economic and political equality. To do this, I made speeches in the U.S. and Europe.
Would you say that you have any speeches that you remember vividly?
I think so. I remember a very successful speech of mine was made in Atlanta. I believe this is known as the Atlanta Compromise speech. Mixed crowds heard this speech about social equality.
What do you believe that people took away from this speech?
I think that because I made this speech from a very practical and realistic point of view at the time, it left people wanting to shape racial relationships and help influence Black leadership in the government.
I believe we are out of time, but thank you for being with us today. It is, folks, straight from the CNN News.
Breaking news, Leo Frank, a Jewish man and superintendent of the National Pencil Company, has been lynched by many angry people after he supposedly killed a 14-year-old girl, Mary Fagan. It all started when Mary went to go pick up her pay from the pencil factory, her place of work, from Frank. She was later found dead in a cellar. Frank was known to be the last person to see Mary alive and became an immediate suspect. Not only was that the reason for him becoming a suspect, he was also a Jewish man, which at the time were not very liked. Another suspect was Jim Conley, an African-American janitor at the pencil factory who was working during the hours of Mary's murdering. Here in the South, African-Americans and Jews were not looked at in a pleasant way. But after the court hearing his testimony, he was proved innocent. As much as most will not admit it, but the people do favor African-Americans over Jews. Frank was sentenced to death, but the Georgia governor, John Slayton, decreased his sentence to a life in prison. The people were angry at Frank, and it seems unclear to as if it was just because he was charged with the murder of a young girl or if he was a Jew. There was not enough evidence in this case to make it certain that he had anything to do with the murder of Mary Fagan.
Hi, I'm Cindy McJohn, coming to you live from Louisiana with Homer Plessy. Homer, how did you get arrested?
I'm 1/8 Black, and some may say white passing, but one day, as part of a planned protest, I sat in the whites-only portion of a railroad car and admitted I was a Black man. I was arrested because of the harsh segregation laws against African Americans.
What group are you a part of?
Committee of Citizens.
What was the object of your protest?
To test the segregation laws.
I see that case went pretty far.
All the way to the Supreme Court.
What was the outcome?
Unfortunately, they ruled in favor of the state because of the idea of separate but equal.
What impact do you think this case made towards a better future for African Americans?
I think that this will show them that there's a way to fight segregation and oppression and continue to strike towards equality.
Hi, this is Barbara Johnson reporting live from CNN News. Today I have a very special guest.
Hello, Ms. Johnson. I'm Webb DuBois. Thank you for having me here today.
So, Mr. DuBois, what do you do for a living?
I taught economics and political science at a university as a university professor in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mr. DuBois, you seem to have a big impact on African American society. Would you please explain your beliefs?
Of course, I wanted African Americans to have social and political equality and have a higher education. I believe that they could achieve this by educating people of multiple races. I had to live through a period where I acquired many scars upon my soul.
Would you kindly explain what you mean by a scar upon your soul?
Gladly, I described lynching as a scar upon my soul. And once Washington gave his famous speech, I realized that educating people was not enough to gain social and political justice for African Americans. I had different views than Washington, so we broke up after his speech.
So you and Washington were partners?
Yes, we split because I believed that Washington was making social, political, and economical decisions affecting all blacks. In addition, I disagreed with Washington's idea that blacks will see improvements in racial injustice if they wait long enough and become economically successful.
Well, I love your point of views. Well, thanks for being here with us today.
Hello, my name is John Smith. I'm reporting live with CMN News. I'm here with Hello, my name is John Smith, and I'm reporting live with CMM News. I'm here with Henry Grady, an Atlanta Journal editor, and he is here to promote his opinions about the New South. To you, Mr. Grady. Hello, thank you for having me today, Mr. Smith. I believe that the South needs to cease relying on farming and become more industrialized like the North. Also, we need to try to get northern businesses to invest in the South to make our economy grow. We have already convinced many northern investors to invest in cities like Atlanta. Thank you so much for having me on this lovely evening.
Hello, I am Barbara Johnson. I am here with Alonzo Herdon. Mr. Herdon, can you describe your childhood for us?
Thank you, Miss Johnson. Of course I will. I was born a slave, and I grew up in a social circle. After the Civil War, I worked for a small amount of time for a low salary as a sharecropper.
And how did this turn your life around?
I learned to be a barber and moved and opened a barber shop in Jonesboro. I soon realized that the business will be more successful in Atlanta, so I moved there. Later, I opened 3 new shops for whites and bought some property. In addition, I later bought an insurance company, and I hired college students to work for me. My son took over the insurance company, and now it's called the Atlanta Life Insurance Company and is very successful.
Wow, that's very impressive. I'm afraid we're out of time, so thank you for being here today.